Okay, next one is another question that came in from a subscriber, and this one's about the Umpa, and it's also a two-parter because there was some philosophy piece to it too. So the first part of the question was, what books, or well, specifically they asked about books, but different philosophy would I bring in as it relates to helping me understand Jiu-Jitsu, and in specific they mentioned Musashi's Book of the Five Rings, and in the same question he asked, how can you make the Umpa function? Because they've been struggling with this for a long time, and when they get big guys, they find it takes more energy than it does the elbow knee escape. Can you help with that? So, good questions both. Let's start with the physical part. The Umpa does not or should not take more energy than it does to do the elbow knee escape. But people give up. Either they're taught incorrectly, you're missing some of the fundamentals, and so then they tend to give up on it. And the elbow knee escape works very well even when it's not that efficient. And so people keep going back to the elbow knee escape. But you really do want to take the time to develop a world-class bridge and roll. And if you get very good with a bridge and roll, you can use it almost exclusively and only have to go into the elbow knee escape. But when you do have to dip into the elbow knee escape, it's going to be that much better because you have a credible Umpa. Okay? There's two reasons why the Umpa fails, and that's it. The first one is a lack of connection. So you're not controlling either one side, so you don't have their arm or their leg connected to you in such a way where they can't disengage. If you're not holding on properly with the upper body, they'll raise up and you'll spin underneath. If you're not trapping their leg will pop out and you'll wind up getting put in side mount or they'll take your back. That's number one. Number two is the angle. If you do both those things, if you have good connection in the correct angle, they cannot counter the Umpa without using the lower body. Every counter they're going to make is going to involve going from the hips down. And that leads into a different thing. But let's talk about that. So Justin's on top and mount. We'll look at it from this angle to begin with. Of course, I want to make sure he's not getting up underneath my armpits, so I'm always climbing so I'm here, right? He gets an attachment. I want to connect to that. So in this particular case, he took a classical attachment. I'm going to grab and move it a little bit away from my neck. And then, like always in grappling, when I'm retracting my arms, I'm going palm up. So I'm retracting my arm and I'm pulling my elbow to my rib cage. Because what I want to do, it's not so much about me just not letting him post. I can grab like this and keep him from posting. Post? No. With this hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, I can hold on to the arm so he can't post. But what's important is not that. What's important is, relax your body. What's important is this doesn't happen. I don't want his elbow to leave my body. So when I grab, I'm holding that down, so you'll see me grab a little closer to the elbow and down here. And if I grab here, I'm doing the same thing. I'm pulling. So I grab, however I grip, usually it's like this or like this, however I grip, my elbow comes back down. And all that matters is trying to get your elbow off my body. That's a little difficult. I trap the foot, also very important. If I go with my foot, my knee up like this, pull your foot up. Sometimes guys can sneak their foot out the back. And if they're very strong, slowly straighten your leg. You may straighten your leg till your knee gets here and then you have to release, right? If I trap the foot and I go like this, pull your foot out. You can't pull the foot out. Straighten your leg. You can't straighten the leg. So what I'm doing is I'm turning the knee out. As I turn the knee out, I roll my body weight. You feel that? My body weight goes onto his calf and his ankle. So he's completely trapped on this side. Now, he's not going to be able to counter by using his hand and stopping me from rolling if I get the correct angle. And the next mistake people make is they usually try and roll him this way. You know the person, you're trying to go here, so you look here, and where your eyes go is where you'll take their body weight. The actual angle is very close to 12 o'clock. So I need to go here, and I need to look where I want Justin to go. Now here's a cheat that you can do. Let's point this way, Justin. That will help you out a lot. One of our SBG coaches, Glenn Podish, calls this shortening the side, which is a great way to describe it. So, because it's literally what I'm doing. I'm taking my right shoulder and I'm going to bring it to my right hip. Now you'll see what that does is that really exaggerates the angle. It's very hard for me now to screw it up. I'm very likely to get Justin the right way, in the right spot. And I barely have to lift my hips. I will lift, but I barely have to lift. He goes over. So if we look at that in the air, stay there. You're trapping one side, you trap the foot, you bring the knee out, and then you shorten this like this. Really exaggerate that as much as you can. Notice my shoulders are still flat. Now I've really exaggerated that angle. The Umpa becomes easy. And you can do that whether he has, if he puts an arm behind my head, so let's say he's mounted, puts that arm behind my head, right? I trap the arm so he doesn't release. I trap the foot, and I shorten the side. You'll notice what I'm doing. I'm bringing my right shoulder to my right hip. And look what happens to his body. He almost wants to roll over that way. So again, it's just a different attachment, but if we look at it in the air, grabbing the arm, grabbing the leg, loading that weight up. As I do this, that puts even more weight on his calf and his ankle. So when I do decide to roll out, I can almost do a belly roll and get the person over. The only way he's going to stop that is with his feet. And then there's some simple counters there where you just actually clear your foot and continue with the same motion. That's a different class. And if you want to see classes like that, again, subscribe to SBG University. We have all my weekly classes that I teach in Portland are up, and you'll see material that's like that, because that's all I like to teach is the fundamentals. But try that with your Umpa, let me know how it works. Second part of the question was related to books. Yes, I have read A Book of the Five Rings and Art of War and books like that. And they're interesting, and I don't want to dissuade you from reading. But I would also steer you in a different direction, more towards Western authors, even contemporaries of the same time period, like Karl von Clausewitz, who wrote a book called On War, which is a classic. And while you'll find philosophical conversations about yin and yang and hard and giving way and things like that, and some of the Asian texts in Book of the Five Rings, when you read On War, you're gonna hear practical application of how to go underneath a castle wall, or to the beginning of working with explosives, or building a castle in such a way that people can't get close to it. So it's actual application to warfare. It kind of shows two different ways of thinking. I think it's obvious which one works better from a military standpoint, but if you think about it, building a castle so that you can keep people from breaching it is about maintaining space. And so those strategies have direct application to all things related to combat, including hand-to-hand combat like jiu-jitsu from a strategy perspective. In terms of physical mechanical perspective or just technique, when you have a book like that where they're talking about levers and pulleys and leverage, those have direct applications to what we do physically. And the SBG coaches and the black belts in SBG, what we try and do is we try and take more of an engineering, scientific approach to the art and try and make our jiu-jitsu as efficient as possible, which is a never-ending journey and a pleasure to be on, but it's a little bit different. So I would kind of encourage you, at the very least, to read both, but certainly make sure you check out some of those Western authors. And then again, please click subscribe, hit that alert button so that you get alerted when we put our new videos out, which are going to be coming out weekly, and leave your comments below what you'd like to see next. Thanks very much.